Hello there. Happy Money Monday, and welcome back to another episode of the Empowered and Abundant podcast. This week, we're talking about the difference between spending and investing. Because if you know me, if you've been in my world for a while, you know that as a money coach and an abundance coach, I think it's important that we not only focus on the inflow of money, but the outflow of money as well. Yes, manifesting more money is great and awesome, but I think sometimes we focus so much on money in, trying to get more money in, trying to manifest more money, that we forget that there's a whole second half to that equation, which is really using your money as a tool to create the life that you want to live. And that it's just as important that we focus on the back half of that equation that we do focus on the front half of that equation. And if anything, the more that we're strategic and intentional and conscious with how we use our money, the more that we can actually increase the amount of money that we bring in. And that this is actually a cycle that flows together in harmony. The more conscious and intentional we are with the flow of money out, one is the better life that we create. We enjoy our life more. We get to live more of the life that we desire and manifest that life through the power of our money. And two, we can actually use that outflow to become a tool for the manifestation of more money in. And this is exactly what I have been practicing in my business for the past 6 years. Honestly, my business is a funnel of flowing money in and flowing money out. And when I strategically use my money in my business, that is actually how I generate more money in to my business. So we have to bring awareness to how we're spending our money. But there is a key difference between just spending money and investing money. And if we're not really focused on how we're flowing our money out and we're more focused on money in, we might not be realizing that we're focusing more on spending than investing with our money. Now, when I talk about investments, I am not specifically talking about investing in the stock market or retirement funds and things like that. I think when you think of investing, that's usually the go-to thought of how do I invest in the stock market? Now, yes, investing in the stock market is a form of investing, but it's just one form of investing. What investing actually is it means putting your money into something that you think will generate a return on that investment, with the hopes that the money that you're putting in some way will grow and then more money will return back to you. Now, if we just look at this foundational definition, you can therefore invest in so many ways. Yes, you could invest in the stock market. You could invest in like baseball cards and have a baseball card collection and then sell those baseball cards for a lot of money, right? Like that's actually a version of investing. Or the way that I like to invest is I invest in growing my coaching business. And growing my coaching business is me investing in my coaching business, because the money that I pour into growing my coaching business, I expect to receive a return on that investments by then generating more coaching clients and bringing more money in. So there are lots of ways to invest, but what's important to note is investing just means expecting or finding a way to spend your money where you're creating or generating a return. Now, I'm really curious to know, when you look at your money and how you spend your money, all of the money that you have, not just business money, but also personal money. If you look at every single dollar that you get every single month, where do you think most of that money goes? Yes, there are portions of it that have to go towards keeping you alive. That's important, like having shelter, having food. There are other things that are important as well, like living a happy life, feeling entertained, just the quality of life. What percentage of your money goes into some form of investment, whether that is investing in like retirement accounts and stocks, or whether that is investing in some other way, investing in your business, investing in future growth, investing in something that you want to generate a return. And it's interesting because when I have conversations with different people, the amount that people are investing versus spending can be drastically skewed. And I think that a lot of times we're spending much more than we are investing. For the length of time in my business, I've kind of flipped that on its head. I have been willing to spend less in a lot of areas of my life so that I can invest more. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that is the right way to do it, but the reason why I've done it this way is because this is a longer term strategy. And this is the difference between looking at the short term focus versus the long term strategy. The short term is, what do I want right now? What would be really great? What would make my life better? What would feel really good? I'm going to buy this. I'm going to go out to eat. I'm going to enjoy this, whatever. Versus the longer term focus is, you know what? I'm willing to sacrifice X, Y, and Z right now and have some present discomfort for the investment in the future, for future stability, future finance, future way of living. And so for me, I have been willing to invest a high percentage of every dollar that I receive from any source back into my business, back into things that I believe will generate returns in the future. And as a result, I have built up the skill set of being able to confidently invest in myself in bigger and bigger ways. And as a result, I have also been able to attract in more money. In fact, it's because of all these investments that I have been able to grow my full-time coaching business. And because of this, I've built up my ability to invest confidently and to actually get returns from the investments that I'm making. So the result of this is that I'm able to make larger and larger investments. I'm at 5-figure investments right now, and I imagine that that's going to continue to grow. But at the same time, these investments that I make in my business, in my future, they get easier and easier, and I start actually making money back from them. Versus when I first started my business, I was still making investments, but they just weren't as big as they are now, and they were more emotionally challenging. They felt more risky, they were more scary, and a lot of those investments didn't really pay for themselves. And so when we look at investing through this lens of, especially as a business owner, especially as an entrepreneur, investing in your future, I believe that investing can be a skill set, especially one that you can have so much more control over than you realize. And I'm especially excited to have this conversation now because the next round of Empowered Abundance enrollment is right around the corner. And that's my signature program where I teach you how to be really intentional and strategic with your money and really use your money as a tool to create and live the life that you want to live, to be able to go full time in your business without money holding you back. And so a big conversation that I have with people is that investing in empowered abundance is you putting this into practice, being able to confidently invest in this program, in this decision, in this skill set of learning to master your money. That's you practicing it. That is you practicing making this investment in yourself in real time. And again, if you haven't built up this skill set of confidently investing, it can be really scary. It can be really intimidating. And it can feel like something where you don't know if it's the right choice or not. It can feel really risky. And so as somebody who has built up my ability to invest and has also taught lots of other people to be strategic with their money in this way and to be able to invest with confidence, this conversation is really, really important, especially if you're somebody who's considering joining Empowered Abundance, because these are the questions that you need to have answered for yourself. This is the place that you need to be in, and these are the skills you need to start to develop in order to even say yes to doing this work in the first place. It's such a catch-22, but that is the point. You have to start to build the skill of using your money strategically and confidently investing in yourself in order to deeply learn the skill of using your money strategically and confidently investing in yourself to create the life that you want to live. So I'm going to share with you 3 factors to consider. 3 important things that I generally practice and consider anytime I'm making an investment for myself. Now, like I said earlier, I have practiced this so many times and gotten so confident in my investing that these 3 things, they generally happen naturally. I don't have to think too much about them anymore, but this is exactly the starting point, especially if you have some fear or uncertainty, or it feels like a big financial risk to invest in yourself, in your business, in your vision, in these big ways. Now, very recently, actually just a few days ago, I decided to invest in a coach for myself. And this is more of a personal coach. I have a business coach and I decided to get another coach for a specific purpose. And I had the idea in the middle of the night and I said, okay, I know this is exactly what I want to work on. I can see the impact that this is having on my life. It's really a lot of mindset work. And it's actually a technique and a modality that I use with my clients all the time. I think it's really valuable and impactful, but it's one thing to be highly skilled at using a tool and delivering a tool, and it's another one to go through the process yourself more and more. And so to me, I was like, oh, okay, it's time for me to do this. It's time for me to get a coach and go deeper into this modality for me, because I know as I continue to expand to my next level, I need to continue to expand my mindset. And so I had this idea to hire the coach, and to me, it was already decided. I said, this is what I'm going to do, and then I implemented it. I reached out to the person who I wanted to coach me. We had a conversation, and I paid right there on the call. In fact, the person didn't even ask me to pay on the call. I came to that call and said, I would love to pay for this right now and schedule this right now. That way it's done, and I don't have to think about it. And it was so easy for me to make this decision. I didn't even need to have a whole conversation about it. I wasn't on the fence about it. And I know that the price point is worth it 100%. And I have no gunk or anything around it as well. This is where I am at in my investing, and I would love for you to get to experience this kind of relationship with money, where you can feel really confident and solid with your finances to be able to invest in yourself powerfully. So here are the 3 things to consider that have helped me build up this skill set and be able to make easy, quick, simple, big decisions with my money that I know are worth it. The first question is, will this generate a return? It's the simplest thing to consider, but sometimes, especially when it comes to investing in coaching, investing in your business, there can be some uncertainty around this, especially when the thing that you're investing in isn't specifically money focused. So for example, I just hired this mindset coach. It has nothing to do with business strategy, has nothing to do with like marketing or sales. There's no specific monetary return that's going to come from investing in this coach. And yet, I am 100% confident that this will generate a return on the investment. And I think answering this question for yourself and really thinking deeply about this is important when it comes to any investment. I've made a lot of investments, not just this one in this mindset coach, but my go-to thought for lots of investments is, okay, if I sign one client from this, then it'll be worth it. Like, it will pay for itself. It will generate a return. And this is the same thought that has allowed me to try new things where I don't really know if they're going to work out or not. And so, for example, with this mindset coach, I know that it will pay for itself. I know that I will sign at least one client as a result of doing this work, no matter what, even though this isn't a money-focused thing. Because when I do my own deep mindset work, when I heal my own deep stories and traumas and do a lot of the work that I help my clients with and take that to the next level, I know I'm going to show up to my business differently. I know I'm going to show up to my life differently. And I know that even if there was just like one thing, one shift, one aha moment that then causes me to show up slightly differently in a sales conversation or in my marketing, and that eventually at some point in time in my life leads to one client saying yes, that it will be worth it. And I am so confident that that's going to happen. Like, to me, it's no questions asked. Of course that's going to happen. Now, I don't necessarily know when it's going to happen. Yes, in an ideal world, I would love for it to happen instantly. Like, I decided to make this investment. It worked very magically, and now I'm a millionaire and I'm just manifesting tons of money. But I'm okay if that's not the case. If this leads to one client 20 years from now and pays for itself 20 years from now, yeah, it would still be worth it. But I also think that it will happen sooner than that. And so the things for you to consider is, what would have to happen for you to make the money back? So if you're considering investing in yourself, in your business, in a program, let's just say Empowered Abundance, for example, if you were thinking about investing in Empowered Abundance, what would have to happen for you to make that money back, if not generate more? How many clients would you have to sign? What would have to happen in your business in order for it to be worthwhile, for it to pay for itself? Is it signing one client? Is it signing 5? Is it signing 20? Is it selling something else? What is it? What would have to happen? And then once you know that number, the next question is what is your level of belief of the likelihood of that happening? So for me, and the investments that I make for myself, where I'm like, ooh, if I signed one client, it would be worth it, I'm 100% confident that I will sign one client as a result of something. I'm very confident in that. Even when I've made bigger investments and I'm like, okay, I need to sign like 5 clients in order for this to be worth it and pay for itself. And I look at the level of value, I look at the level of the investment, I'm like, okay, here's all the reasons why, of course, I can sign 5 clients as a result of this. So those are the questions I want you to ask, is what would have to happen for you to make the money back? And what's your level of your belief in your ability to actually do that? And then the other piece is, what is the likelihood that you will follow through to actually get the results? Because that's the other part of it, is, do you believe in yourself to show up so that you actually can get those returns? And I think that's something that's a little different here. I'm not just putting money into the stock market and letting the stock market do its thing. I'm investing money in my business, and I need to receive the learnings, make the shifts, make the changes so that it is worth it. And so I actually do get the results. I actually do sign the clients that makes it pay for itself. And that is on me. So the other question to ask is, what is your level of belief that you will get the learnings, that you will follow through, and that you will make it happen? If you go through this thought process, and this can become easier over time, it makes it easier to invest and also make investing more of like a clear decision, as opposed to just like an emotional, I'm on the fence and I don't know what to do. So that's the first thing to consider, is, will this generate a return on investment? With those 3 questions to ask. The second thing to consider is financial strategy. So we also have to look at your current financial situation and figure out what is your level of risk tolerance and what is your ability to do this. Because what I'm not saying is just like throw money around. I'm not saying, okay, you only have to sign one client and make this big decision. And then, oh, look at this other shiny thing over here. And you only have to sign one client. So make the decision. And then look, oh, here's another investment over here, right? So I'm not just saying like throw your money around at a bunch of different things. You still have to be financially strategic. And so when you have a process for seeing your money very clearly, then you can make these decisions with confidence by not only looking at, will this generate an ROI, but also looking at, how can I pull off making this investment now, knowing that the return might not come for a while. And that's the second part of it. Yes, we got to be future focused and look at, how will I guarantee that the return will come in the future? But we also have to look at, how can you make sure that you survive in the present? And that is important to know, because if you are very financially scarce, if you are really, really sacrificing a lot in order to make this investment, that could change your ability to actually get the results. And this comes back to, what is your level of risk tolerance? And everyone's is different. So for me, in my journey of investing in my business, I have a high level of risk tolerance, and I personally am willing to sacrifice a lot in order to invest in my future. And so for me, like, I have driven an old car for years. I don't buy new clothes. I get all my clothes from thrift stores, occasionally. I don't really eat out much. I cook at home. I worked as a waitress for many, many years as I was growing my business, because I wanted to use as much money as I possibly could towards investing in my future. So for me, I was willing to sacrifice a lot of lifestyle in order to prioritize my growth. And that was worthwhile to me. I was totally okay with that, and it felt like a worthwhile risk. And I did make some big risks with my money. I did put stuff on credit cards. I still utilize debt and credit cards for my investing, but I still did it in a way that was strategic. Because I could see my money very clearly, I was able to figure out, okay, exactly how many hours do I need to work at the restaurant in order to pay for these investments? Exactly how am I going to pay off this credit card debt? That way I don't get stuck in a hole and accumulate interest. I was very intentional by seeing my money, and even when I was taking financial risks, making a plan so that I knew I could pull it off. And that made these risks feel less risky, because I was able to keep living and keep surviving now in the present. And I had a plan and strategy for continuing to support myself and to continue to pay off the investments, even if they were things that I couldn't presently afford. And so when you're investing, you have to figure out, how can I wait until I get the return? If I don't get the return for a while, how am I going to survive until those returns come in? And that is a practice of financial strategy. And the tool that you need is a financial blueprint, which is what I teach you how to build in Empowered Abundance, so that you can see your money clearly and make strategic decisions like this. Having a financial blueprint helps you make financial decisions and investments strategically without it feeling as risky. So you can plan for it now and actually get the returns in the future. And then the third factor to consider is a sense of deep self-trust. And I think, honestly, this has made the biggest difference in being able to invest in myself in bigger and bigger ways. Because the truth is I have a deep sense of self-trust, especially when it comes to investing. I remember the first investment I made in my first ever business coach. It was a $2,600 investment. And I was really scared about it. Especially, I remember having a conversation with my boyfriend, and I was crying on the couch and felt like a crazy person and felt like I was making this huge mistake. And he was telling me that it was a mistake and that I could just do it on my own. Why hire a coach? It's so much money. It's so expensive. But inside me, I just knew that this was the right next step. It felt in alignment for me, and I felt like it would be worth it, and my business was important to me, and I wanted to invest in my growth, and I wanted to learn the skills I didn't have. And so even though it felt really hard and scary and I didn't know if it was going to work out, I had an inkling of trust that it would, and I was willing to take that risk. And it was a big risk. And I didn't have as much risk tolerance or confidence or self-trust as I do now. But from that investment and all the investments since then, I have built up this deep sense of self-trust and self-confidence, where now I can tell what is in alignment and what isn't. Now I can go through this process quicker of asking myself questions about, will it generate a return, of being financially strategic with the money I have now so I can continue to invest. And I believe in myself that I will find the way to make it happen. I will find the way to be strategic with my money now so I can invest it, and I will find the way to generate the return no matter what. And that means, how do I show up during the investment? How do I gain the value? How do I learn what I need to learn? How do I make sure that I get that one aha moment, or that I get that one shift that's going to lead to X more clients in the future? And I believe that I have the ability to do that. I believe in my own ability to show up, follow through, and generate the return for myself. And now, because I have done that, I have done that repeatedly, I have increased my confidence in my ability to make strategic investment decisions and actually have them get returns. Now, granted, sometimes I make mistakes. Sometimes investments don't pay for themselves. So if we go back to that first business coach, I didn't really earn any money from working with her during that period of time at all. But it was still worthwhile to me, because even if I didn't make money right away, I know I learned some foundations that changed who I was as a person, changed my beliefs about myself, changed beliefs about my business, and therefore built the foundations that has led to every single client I've gotten since then. So in many ways, it did get returns because that investment contributed to where I am now and all the investments I made after. And also, if something doesn't pay for itself, how can you learn from it so that it was worth it? Even if monetarily you didn't gain something in the period of time that you expected, how can you learn something valuable from that investment that makes it worthwhile no matter what? And I have deep belief in my ability to do that. And I know that anything I invest in, I'm going to show up and get the value one way or another. It's always, always worth it. Even if the thing that you learned is, wow, these are things that aren't in alignment to me. These are things I don't want to do. I'm learning more about myself, about what actually is important, what is a good use of my money. And that all gets to be knowledge for your future investments. Now I'm over here investing $20,000 in a coaching program like it's no big deal. And I'm like, heck yeah, of course this is going to pay for itself. I know it's going to, because I have built up my skill set of being able to invest in myself confidently. And this is what generates returns. This is what generates the flow of money in the future. And this is the foundation to building a successful business and living your abundant life. And this is true for any bigger investment that you make in your personal growth, in your business, but also this is true for just how you spend your money in your life. Are you spending money in a way that is contributing to living the kind of life that you really want to live? And when you consider these three factors, that helps you make these decisions with confidence. Okay, that is what I have for you this week. Enrollment for the next round of Empowered Abundance is opening soon. And in Empowered Abundance, I teach you how to feel in control of your money so that you can use your money strategically and confidently to create the life that you want to live, so that you can build your business and go full time in it and live a life that you love without money holding you back. So, if you're curious about empowered abundance and you're ready to step into your next level of abundance, then you can book a consultation with me using the link in the show notes below. On a consultation, we'll talk about exactly how empowered abundance can support you, and I'll help you in thinking through this investment decision and deciding if it is the right next step for you. Again, you can book a consultation using the link in the show notes below or by going to my website, thebizhippie.com/abundance. Have a great rest of your Money Monday, and I will see you next week.